Thank you.
All right, thanks, Duke. All right, our next question is going to come from Jim Barcelone. Jim, are you there?
Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead with your question, Jim.
Scott, I'm curious about Impact going to Tuesday night and your thoughts of that night with so much wrestling on TV these days and what it means to have this on AXS TV that night.
I think that Tuesday night is a great night for pro wrestling, and the fact that Impact Wrestling is on Tuesday nights now on AXS TV, I think it's a fantastic opportunity for us, and it puts us in a perfect spot in the schedule. So it's an unbelievable time in professional wrestling where there's so much great product out there and fans have so many choices. And we have a situation now on Tuesday nights where there had been kind of an opening up of the broadcast schedule for wrestling on Tuesdays, and we're happy to be in that. Returning to prime time was obviously important to us. Getting on a bigger platform was obviously important for us. And having an engaged partner network that was both large enough in scope and dedicated enough in its commitment to really put Impact out at the forefront was important to us. And I think with AXS TV, clearly we've achieved all those goals.
And also follow up, Scott, what does it mean to, because you mentioned AXS TV and obviously Anthem, what does it mean to the wrestlers that are there now in Impact and that might come over in the future to have this combination in place between Anthem and AXS and how important that is to the company?
Well, I think one of the things is, if you look at some of the trials and tribulations of previous regimes, a lot of it dealt with the domestic broadcast partner. And what Anthem Sports has certainly done is made a commitment, not just for Impact, but for itself. Anthem is out there and is in the media business. But acquiring AXS TV, a controlling interest in AXS TV, what it means specifically to Impact Wrestling fans is you now know where Impact Wrestling's home is. There's no question about the commitment of the network to Impact Wrestling because we have very similar ownership. So we have a steady home that's committed to being a great partner for Impact Wrestling. So I think to go back to one of the previous questions, this certainly is another reason, another example of how wrestling fans know that they can trust Impact Wrestling when it makes a promise that it's going to deliver. And you now know where you're going to find us. You know where you're going to find us today, tomorrow, and for the very long foreseeable future. We have a home and a partner in AXS TV, an amazing network that has a track record of doing an excellent job of promoting and showcasing professional wrestling. So I think that it's a huge move. I think that it shows the type of vision that Len Asper and Anthem Sports and Entertainment has. And I think it was a joyous day for all wrestling fans to know that Anthem Sports had AXS TV and that Impact Wrestling was going to be a big part of that.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, Jim, thank you. All right, our next question here is going to come from James Walsh. James, are you there?
I am here. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can. Go ahead with your question.
All right, I have a question for each of our guests, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So Scott D'Amore, it's a pleasure to speak with you again. I have been an Impact Wrestling fan literally since the first pay-per-view, June 19th, 2002, and every time there's something huge that happens like this, you know, I get goosebumps and I get so happy to see the company continue to thrive. Something that I've seen online, though, and I wanted to get your take on it, is that there's some people who are worried about the idea that there's too much wrestling now and that some of the other companies that aren't the perceived big two, maybe, might be suffering from this. Do you guys view the rest of the landscape of wrestling as competition, and how does Impact Wrestling stay ahead of the Joneses, as it were?
Well, I think that there's certainly a ton of wrestling content out there, both broadcast-wise and through other delivery and digital delivery methods. There's a ton of great wrestling out there, which I think is great for wrestling fans. There certainly is a wide array of choices that wrestling fans can make. And while, you know, the other companies are competition in many ways, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the enemy. In order for us to succeed they don't have to fail. Like I grew up my formative years in the construction industry, and other construction companies that competed with the more construction were our competition, but they weren't our enemy. So we're not going to look, and that's been my approach in business, and Impact Wrestling isn't going to look at everybody as an enemy. Competition is great. Competition breeds innovation, which is good for everybody. So I think that it's good that there's a lot of competition out there. And to answer the second part of your question, I think what we need to do is we need to answer the challenge and continue to go out there.
I think we might have lost Scott.
Did we lose somebody there?